Hi guys, I'm back. I'm decided that I wanted to start doing my videos again and get into the whole mum community and stuff. And I had my baby. He's 5 months tomorrow, and I was going to do a couple of videos. Probably won't be so specific, but I'll tell you what I remember and everything. But this one's going to be my labour and delivery video. And sorry about this piece of paper. I just had to write down notes. Can sometimes be hard to remember and get a bit jumbled up. Okay, I was in labour. I can't remember exactly what date. I guess if I counted, I could figure it out. But Caden was born on the 22nd of December 2012. And he weighed 7 pounds and 84 ounces. And he was born at 1:02 in the afternoon. He was 52 centimeters. I was in labour for 10 days. Most people, I can't remember exactly what they call it, but they have this labour where it stops and starts and stops and starts. But mine never stopped. It was always full labour. It wasn't like when you're in transition labour, but it was like still quite painful. They had to give me sleeping medication to go to sleep and everything, and still I kept on like, I was at my mum's house half the time, and she said I was like very uncomfortable and barely able to sleep and everything. And when I did get to sleep, that I was just kind of like very, very unsettled. Anywho, so I'm labour for 10 days. I went in to get myself checked a couple of times. I was very determined not to get induced because I wanted it to be natural. I didn't want it to be forced, and I was willing just to do that by myself and be patient and wait and see what happens. And I finally just like, had no idea where I was. In general, I didn't want to be checked because to me it sounded painful, and it really wasn't, but to me it sounded painful. And I just got to a point where I was like in labour for like 4 days or something, 5 days maybe. I was like, alright, I'm going to get myself checked. I just want to know. And that's what I did. And the first time I was 1 centimetre dilated and 50% effaced. So when I heard that, I was just like extremely disappointed. But at the same time, I was a bit like, yay, because it wasn't something was happening. I was at least dilated and I was at least effaced. Then it felt like it was a real thing again, because I already thought it was a real thing, like how many other times. So I went up to the birth centre again to get checked, and I was 70% effaced and 1 centimetre dilated. That was quite disappointing for me. And I am on the 10th day oh no, it was over the evening, or I was over the 9th or the 10th day. I think it was the 10th day in the morning. We went to, sorry, my brain's a bit frazzled. We went to the shops and walked up this shop that has lots of stairs constantly, and kept on doing it, and then it just felt a lot more painful. Actually, from that morning, it felt a lot more painful, but I was a bit resistant, seeming that every single time I thought something was going to happen. It never did. It was always just these contractions that everyone just thought I was kind of being wimpy about, but really I wasn't. They thought I was just having that labour, but that's not what was going on. So I went and I told my mum it felt a bit stronger, a lot more painful, but let's not get too far ahead. Let's just walk up and down the stairs and see what we do. And I was kind of leaking, but I thought it was just like a discharge or whatever. I didn't actually know it was my water, because most people's just comes out or whatever. So I just thought it was some kind of discharge, and then later on I told my mum what it was, and she was like, that sounds like your water, just in case, we'll go get it checked out. And it was my water, but it was just, and apparently it was a funny colour, so they wanted to get it checked to see if it had any meconium in it. At that point in time, they couldn't see any meconium in my waters. And so I went home, and then I started to labour pretty good, so I went back to the birth centre. And once I went to the birth centre, once I went to the birth centre, I stayed there the second time. I was just like, this feels real. I'm actually contracting, like, heavily. This feels real. And I was very pleased, and then I just got from being pleased and being joyful to being like, kill me now. They wouldn't check me again. I wanted to get checked again just to see how far I was or whatever. But they wouldn't, they refused. They said it could be bad or whatever. So, sorry, just referring to all this. And then they checked, they said they wanted to, his heartbeat was funny or something, so they wanted to check his waters again. And so they got me to check it again. At this point, I had just vomited, and I was feeling very sick, and there was meconium in the waters, which I and my family personally believe is because I got that pap smear thing, I forget what it's called, and when he was born, he had something on his head, like a scar or whatever, and we think that she snapped it on his head, and that's what was that put him, because he started to become under stress, and they transferred me to like this hospital that's supposed to be the best hospital in my area for giving birth and everything. So they did that. They transferred me, but when I was being transferred, they told me I was in early stages of labour, and that just really, really was disheartening to me, and again now it really pisses me off. So I was too sick, I was feeling too nauseous to walk. I was feeling extremely nauseous, like you wouldn't believe. So they got me up there, they gave me medication, but I still felt nauseous, and I was still insistent on having a natural delivery. And they wanted to check me up there, and when they checked me, they said I was 7 centimeters, almost 8 centimeters, and because I was under stress, I really think the midwife said 7 centimeters, so I could get an epidural because I needed to calm down, because his heart rate in the end was going down to 50. Sorry. And that wasn't so good. And so he was very much under stress, and they just wanted to get him out, but I couldn't have a C-section, thank God, because they didn't want him to breathe in the meconium or whatever. So his heart rate was going down to 50 during each contraction I had, which was pretty bad. So they're very eager, and so I was just in labour for a couple of hours, but the epidural didn't work straight away. Like, it didn't work. They had to put it up to the highest it could go for it to actually work. I don't know why it didn't work, but it was just very painful and stressing me and my son out. It was a bit of a drama, honestly, but when I did get my epidural done, as I have to say, it was like really, really painful. But my husband's been through this with me for like 10 days, and I go to get epidural done, and I go to him probably when I was early here in labour, and I said, do you not let me get an epidural unless my son's life is at risk? And at that point in time, he didn't really understand the situation, so it was like, don't get an epidural. But finally, when we convinced him that yes, we need the epidural, this is a life-threatening situation, he held my hands because he knew this kind of stuff would really, because I feel pain a bit differently, and that would really hurt for me. And when I got it done, my mum told me that he was tearing up a bit when I got the epidural done, which I just thought was so sweet. After a couple of hours of contracting, around about 1 o'clock, I felt the urge to, I don't know, I was having an epidural. I didn't really feel, I just felt like something was down there and didn't really know. I went to go ask the midwife, and she felt me, and his head was halfway down there. So I was like, she said, you can push now, you can push now. I asked the midwife to hold up the thing so I didn't tear there, and I started pushing, and I have to say, that was my moment. I was like all eager to push. I wasn't in pain anymore. I just wanted to see my son. I kept on pushing, and you know, it's a bit of an ordeal. It was I was just taking a sip of water, pushing. I'm very proud of my moment of pushing.